smashing into other giant robots.
This is the Giant Robot Smashing into Other Giant Robots podcast, where we explore the design, development, and business of great products. And I'm your host, Will Larry, and with me today, my guest, Mr. Jesse Mecham, founder of YNAB. He started it in 2004 as a spreadsheet to keep his young marriage afloat, turned it into a bootstrap software company that's never taken a dollar of outside funding, and he hosts the Jesse Mecham Show. And we're here to promote his new book, Never Worry About Money Again. It's going to be out August 11th. Jesse, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you have 7 kids. You know, you do some woodworking and things. So I saw 7 and I was like, man, he has me beat. I have 4 and people usually look at me like, what is going on? So tell me about that.
4 will get you the look for sure. It'll get you the little side eye a little bit. We did it one at a time, but it starts to add up after a little while. I started in accounting, in college, and chose that major not from passion, but because I saw that the job placement rate was like 99.5%. So I was like, okay, that's my passion. Apparently, is employment, more than anything else. So I went that route. And my wife, Julie, she wrapped up a social work degree where they don't pay you a lot, right out of school. And so I think she was making 11, 12 bucks an hour and things were tight. And that was kind of the original impetus for the spreadsheet at the time was that. And along the way, we've just kind of iterated and built on it, one day at a time, and saw the phones come into the game 4 or 5 years later. And I was the guy that was like, no one would ever want to do their money on their phone on this tiny screen, and how wrong I was. So we moved into that, and then everything went to the web. Everything became a web app. So we moved into that, and along the way, I've picked up some hobbies, and I like to stay entertained and do pick things that keep me away from the the computer and things like that when I'm not working.
You have to, especially sitting in this position. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yep. What are the age ranges of your kids?
My youngest is 6 and my oldest is 22. So we got a big range. We got kids in college all the way down to a first grader. And the first couple are like rough drafts. I feel like the first grader, he'll probably have a good go of it. I think we figured it out.
Yep. See, I'm in the later stages or the younger stages. My oldest is 7. My youngest is 18 months.
Oh yeah, you are in the thick of it in a whole different way. Absolutely.
Yes.
Like getting in the car for you, you're like, okay, guys, let's do this. Like it takes a little effort. That's all. Like mobilization is tough. So
30 minutes at least.
Yeah.
It takes.
I remember that very well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, but we love it. That's the biggest thing. I love it. They're kind of out of the house this weekend to go visit some family, and it's quiet and it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It is very weird. So I love it and I enjoy it. I wouldn't change a thing about it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about the spreadsheet. Was it just an Excel spreadsheet or what was it?
Yeah, that was it. It was a spreadsheet that had one very special thing about it. The spreadsheet itself was not special, but I had built it in a way that was a fairly unique way of looking at money and kind of thinking through what your money was for. And that was that unique aspect is what made the spreadsheet have any kind of legs at all. And I mean like barely any legs, but it was enough for me to fund the business going forward. And then when I met my now business partner, Taylor, who, came to me and said, I'd like to improve your spreadsheet. I looked at what it was making. I thought, man, I could maybe pay this guy to actually build, full blown software. So the spreadsheet gave me just enough money to keep the thing going. And the unique part about it was our hook, like really teaching people a different way of thinking about their money.
Okay. So like, I know most people say they only use like 5% of Excel. Was it the 5% that you use, or was it more in depth, more of the nitty gritty of it?
It was more in depth than, what a standard user would be doing, but it was still very simple. I mean, we're talking about entering in every transaction that you had. I mean, like people wouldn't even consider that now, but back then, people were used to a little more tedium on their computers, and that was part of it. It was fairly simple. The interface was certainly simple. I mean, I was trying to go for having things be as simple as possible, so the person was left with just their decisioning around what should my money do. That, like, someone knowing that is far more important than how many features the software has. Is just that knowledge that people can walk away with. So that was the key, and that's driven us for the last 20 years, raising people's awareness around their money, helping them decide what it's for is everything, and the rest is just trying to either get out of the way or support that.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because reading your book, I wish I learned that like after college. So I was probably like 24, 25. No one taught me those things. And I wish someone would have just given me the book or taught me those things when I was younger. So it was actually really cool to go through it. And like, yes, like if people can know just those little things, like they seem so simple, but
Yeah.
they can change so many things in your life.
Yeah. Honestly, if you found that if you're starting to get things figured out at 25, you're doing pretty well. There are people that talk about that at 45, so you're doing just fine.
Well, I appreciate that. With the spreadsheet, what even went through your head of like, will people even pay for this? Like, how
Oh,
can
yeah.
I sell this and get people on board?
That absolutely went through my head. I mean, the first person I sold it to, they were using this computer I had vaguely heard of called a Mac back then, and it didn't work. Like, I hadn't built it on a Mac; I built it on like this thick Dell laptop, and so I had to refund. So, like, my very first sale, I had to refund the person because I couldn't figure it out at all. But yeah, you're totally dying to know, is this going to take? And the best and only way to figure out if people are going to want it enough to spend their money for it is to offer it for sale. I originally sold it too cheap, like $9.95. Nobody was buying because you didn't want to bother to buy something that inexpensive. I upped the price. I put a 1 in front of the 9 and started selling it for $19.95 and tried that and started getting some sales. And yeah, that was pretty exciting to realize this was compelling enough for people to give it a shot.
Yeah. Do you still have a copy of it somewhere, or is
Oh
it's
yeah.
long
Oh
gone?
yeah.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. I got a copy. Yeah. It's just, just for nostalgia, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
it was just as ugly as sin, that thing, but it was the beginning, so I hold it in very high regard. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me the story about your wife, kind of naming everything when you were talking to her about it. How
Yeah.
did that go?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, we have a funny name. You need a budget. We now go by YNAB, and most people still know that it stands for you need a budget. But YNAB came along as the acronym really early on, and we've kind of just run with that. But back then, I mean, I was sitting at our dining room table, which was a card table that we had inherited from my parents. So it's just this. I mean, it was nothing, and I'm just sitting there on this folding chair and about to buy a domain name. I had the spreadsheet ready for sale, and I felt like I could learn to build this website. And I think my wife at the time, she was probably nursing because our baby was just born. So she was probably nursing or trying to get him to sleep or doing something along those lines.
Yep.
And I was like, what should we call this? What domain should we buy? And she's like, what about you need a budget? And I was like, oh, okay. And that was that. I mean, no research, no, like, are there other people out there doing nothing at all? No brand consideration, just a directive. You need a budget. And that's carried us a long way. There are a lot of people that have a really hard time with the word budget. And so for a while, we tried to tell people, hey, we're not teaching you how to budget the way you think.
Yeah.
We're teaching you to actually spend your money with joy, with confidence. But they have a hard time believing you, because they're just like, oh no, budget means fun is over, let the white knuckling begin. So we've kind of given up trying to change the definition of that word. And we just tell people, hey, we're a new way of doing money. Like, you got to give it a shot.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you right now, because I use YNAB, been doing it for a couple years. There's something when you pull it up and you look at that line item and you're like, green. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I like seeing that.
I still, that feeling, it never leaves. I still look like I'll fund, I'll get a paycheck or whatever. I'll fund all my categories. I'm like, man, this feels good. Everything's
Yeah.
taken care of. It doesn't get old.
That's really good. So you mentioned Taylor. So tell me how that went down with Taylor. Like, how did he even come into the picture? Because that seemed like a huge leap from just a spreadsheet to bank imports and then becoming your partner in the business.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it took a long time. Our initial meeting was over email, and he just said I could improve the spreadsheet. I'm a developer. And I wrote back, well, I don't want to improve the spreadsheet. I want to have real software. And he said,
Mm,
oh, I can do real software. I used to work for Microsoft. I now work for this game studio. I can do this. And so we emailed furiously back and forth over a period of days, just kind of getting to know each other and
yeah.
doing all that. And then we started talking on the phone. This is back when the phone was like a wire connected to a wall, and we were just talking and figured that all out. I think you had to use calling cards actually because it was a long distance. He was in Texas, I was
Yeah.
in Utah.
Oh, that was
So
Roman.
it was way back. I think we used a stagecoach. No, I mean it was a long time ago. So
Yeah.
he ended up I just said I'll pay you this fixed amount and we'll kind of break it up into milestones and I'll just pay you this amount per milestone that he'll deliver to me and I'll test it and things. And so he would ship me builds of the software. By ship I mean email them to me as attachments and I would load it and test it and see how it worked. And we did that for about 9 months and got it ready for release. At the time, it didn't do any bank importing at all. It was just basically a port of the spreadsheet functionality with some extra, in this new Windows only format. And the only tough part was we had been saving the money from YNAB. Julie and I were saving for a house down payment because at that time, real estate was like white hot. Everyone was like, you got to get in, you got to get in. And prices were running away from you. And you thought if you didn't buy now, you'd never get a house, that kind of thing. Boy, were we wrong. You could have bought a house for so cheap 4 years later, right? But
Yes.
whatever. So I do remember that conversation with Julie where I was like, I've met this guy and it's going to cost us, I think it was about 20 grand. And it's basically our whole house down payment fund that we've been scratching together. And I was like, he can build us this real software and we could charge more for it. It'll be far better than the spreadsheet. We could sell it to the customers that we already have that have bought the spreadsheet and kind of give them an upgrade. And she didn't take a lot of time to deliberate. She was just like, yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. So we went with it and just kind of punted. But the
Wow.
payoff was there. 9 months later, we launched the software and I made back that money I paid Taylor. I want to say it was like in a day. Because all those old customers, those former customers that have been using the spreadsheet were like, oh man, I've been waiting for like the real deal. And so we sold it to them. And then obviously the software sold better than a spreadsheet ever would. And we
Yeah.
were able to charge more. I think by that time we were maybe charging maybe it's $40 or something for
Okay.
it. And it was at that time not old school, but you'd get a license key, you'd paste it into the software and activate your software. And as long as you
Yeah.
maintained a machine that could run that with that operating system and that version, I mean, you could run it as long as you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's actually really cool. And so I'm guessing Taylor's still part of the company and still
Oh
with
yeah.
you and everything.
Yeah, so I got lucky that I mean, we're good friends now. We were business partners first, but good friends, and we've just really gelled. Not everyone is nearly so lucky. So, a lot of partnerships go awry for one reason or another. But yeah, he and I just really gel. We have common goals. We get excited about the same things, and so over time he basically earned in where he owns a piece of YNAB now and couldn't be happier to have him.
Wow. So how did that work? Was it just luck or were you intentional to trust him and build trust with him? Like how did that work? Because like you said, that doesn't always happen. And
Yeah.
all the horror stories that you hear about partners, just yeah.
No, it's real. I mean, we got lucky in the sense that we met each other, right? But
Hmm.
he and I both try hard. Like I think we're both good communicators. He's a bit of a unicorn. He's an extremely smart guy and a fantastic developer, but he also is a very good communicator. And
Okay.
we both value that. We value being understood and kind of above all. I remember when we were negotiating him actually coming on and having some equity. We had gotten, each had our own attorney to let's make sure this is done correctly. We don't want to create some fire later on that really messes things up. So we were going in with the best of intentions. And because we had these two attorneys on either side figuring out this agreement, I mean, we got nowhere for like 3, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And finally, Taylor and I are like, man, we have two people that want to work together, that want this deal to work. Like, we're not adversarial at all. And we can't get our attorneys to agree. It was insane. So finally we're just like, hey, y'all, we're doing this way. And they're like, okay, we can write that up. That was that. But I was
Wow.
just blown away how those attorneys are just used to, like, oh, I'm going to go to bat. I'm going to fight this out. And we're like, we're not fighting. We're just trying to figure out something that's beneficial, you know?
Yeah.
So it all worked out. It's worked out great. But we did get a little lucky, but we worked hard at the relationship. We worked hard at, like, speaking up if we don't like something, making sure we're understood, and having a lot of, tough, critical, important conversations along the way.
Yeah. Which that makes sense because this is a very important relationship. Like,
Yeah,
probably besides your family and your wife and your kids, like, this is probably your next most important relationship because
absolutely.
there's money, time, all that invested. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Wow. Okay, man, that's really good. I'm so glad that happened, and it's not one of the horror stories. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
So let's transition. What's something that you have taught for so long that you changed your mind on? Do you have anything like that, or are you kind of?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I mean, I've changed my mind on, like, that example I gave you around the phones. It's just like, oh, no one will want to do their money on their phone. I was completely wrong. Changed my mind on that.
Yeah.
Um, I've had all kinds of things that I held dear as an early business owner, where I've changed my mind and realized, like, oh no, the common practice is common for a reason, and we think we're some exception. And then you find out as you get a little bigger and things get a little more complex, you're like, oh, that's why people have this policy or this process in place. It's just common because it works. And so I've changed my mind there. What the software does. I used to be really, really, I mean, this is years ago. I used to be really opposed to the idea of everyone just bringing in all their transactions from the bank. It's like, man, they're going to lose their connection to their spending. But I came around because you realize most of that was just tedium. It wasn't the
Yeah.
person deciding what their money was for. It was just like managing the information itself. And you don't want that to be tedious. You want it to be as quiet as possible. So I came around on that. And AI is probably one where you'll see me come around because I'm just kind of like, I don't know yet what to think about it. It's still so new. It's obviously powerful. It's going to be interesting. These are interesting times. But yeah, I don't know what to think about it yet. So I'm sure I'll figure it out. But it'll take time for everybody in this new space.
Yeah. And that is so true. I'm, as a developer, because I'm a senior developer here at thoughtbot,
Yeah,
I'm going through that same thing. Is like, what place does AI play in this? Because, like,
yeah,
it can do a lot of stuff, but I also don't want to lose the skills that I've worked so hard over the years to build and keep and stuff. So it's a different game because of AI. I think it's a good thing, but just learning how to adjust with it.
yeah, yeah. Even if it's not a good thing, maybe if it's actually some kind of a negative, it's not going anywhere, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you have to kind of you have to have this approach of, I better learn what this is all about, one way or the other. Um, I mean, you could always have people that are like, "Nah, I refuse. I don't want any part of it," and there's space for that too. Um, but yeah, you just don't feel like it's going anywhere at all. So it's kind of imperative that we do figure out how it fits.
Yeah. And that's a good point you just made. It's not going anywhere. Being in development, I've seen so many things come and go, come and go.
Mhm.
And I felt like that was going to be one out. It's going to die down. And it just ramped up, actually. It did not
Yeah,
go anywhere. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We'll just watch, man. We'll just watch and see.
Yep.
Yeah.
How has it affected YNAB? Like, if
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. All the predictable ways. Like, suddenly, when Anthropic has an outage, everyone's like, I'm kind of hamstrung all of a sudden, right?
yeah,
That's new. We never experienced that before.
yeah,
Probably get a little breather wouldn't be bad anyway for people. But we use it in development as, to do all kinds of
okay,
mundane things. Each developer, as far as I understand it, I'm not in the day to day of the engineering by any stretch, but as I understand it, developers use it to varying degrees. Some of them see it as like, man, this is a great junior or intern, I got to watch them close, but they do
Yep.
some menial stuff that I don't want to do. And that's not so bad, Others really push the limits and be like, this, I don't know, this refactor that we've been wanting to do for 6 years, could this thing one shot it? And then you do it and you're like, oh my word, what would have taken us 6 months took us a couple $1,000s in a couple days. Now, when you're talking about production code, I mean, this is a different ballgame. Like I've spun up little apps just for me to do these little things that I want. I mean, I'm the only user. Who cares? You can have it do
Yeah.
whatever you want. But when you're talking about production, I mean, our guys are guys and gals. They're crazy cautious around it. Like you don't mess around with production code, data, that kind of thing. So it's interesting to have it as a research assistant too.
Mm-hmm.
That's been like, what about this tech? What about this part of the stack? What about this new thing? Should I care? Should I not care in context of our tech stack? Those are it's some shortcuts there for sure. A lot of information gathering that's just suddenly faster. That's been great. And then we're using it inside the business in all kinds of ways. It's fantastic. I mean, we have a bot for chat now. And 5 years ago, Will, if you would have been like, hey, you're gonna have a chat bot for help, I would have been like, those things are garbage. There's no way we're doing that, And we have a pretty high, well-earned, well-deserved reputation for really quality support.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, I don't know about this, but we've managed that bot and we don't pretend it's some human, right? Like people know it's a bot, but we've trained it really well, and our customers love it. Like they get an answer in 20 seconds instead of 2 hours. I mean, it's they love it. And I think more and more you will see people be like, why am I waiting? Like, give me my answer, and a business will have to respond. It'll be a smaller and smaller slice of the population that's like, no, I want to send an email and make sure that a human responds back. I mean, the idea of someone calling us, 10 years ago, we used to have people say, hey, why can't I call someone?
Mm-hmm.
We do not get that request anymore because people are like, the generations are changing, the expectations are changing. So I think AI is going to change expectations and businesses will have to adapt. And that's just the name of the game in business, just adapt.
Wow. See, I didn't know you have a chat bot. So and I use it. I'm in there every day and I didn't realize it, but man, I bet you it helps so much. Cause I remember when I first started in YNAB, it was just hard to comprehend because finance is just complicated. It's just complicated in general. And someone told me, it's like, you just have to stick in it, stay in there for about a month, and then you'll get it. And then there are so many help videos and things like that. But, and the response, like you said, was very quick and things like that. But a chat bot, that takes it over just next level.
Yeah. I mean, it's tailored. It knows what the right answers are. We QA it constantly to see like, well, what did it say? And we test that and make sure that it's not doing anything strange. But yeah, I mean, it takes some serious management and development and oversight to deliver it. It's not like you can just be like, out of the box, this thing's amazing, but it is worth it. I mean, our customers have really loved it. Using YNAB, like you were right to say it, and very few people notice or catch that, but finances are complicated. Like someone changing their money behavior, that is a big undertaking. So sometimes people will be like, oh man, YNAB is hard. And I'm like, actually, the software itself, inputs and outputs, it's not really that big of a deal. But what you're undertaking to really take yourself from probably not that great with money to really good at money to not worrying about money, that's a big deal. That is hard.
Yeah.
And so we used to be like, oh no, YNAB's not hard. And now I'm like, no. Changing you and money, that is hard. And so, power to everybody that's just like in it and sitting in it, like you said, and getting better at it.
Yeah, definitely. So I found somewhere that you kind of moved away from give every dollar a job. And that's kind of where I grew up, and give every dollar a job, know it, envelope system, things like that. So like, why move away from something that seemed to work for so many? What was the reasoning behind that? And what did that look like?
Yeah. I mean, we've we've always iterated, back in the day, like February of '05, I wrote the first version of the rules. These, 20 plus years ago. And I
Okay.
probably changed those rules, the order, the names of the rules, the metaphors I used. I probably have changed them 5 times in there,
Okay.
like little variants. And then there was one time where we noticed like give every dollar a job was actually kind of the only rule. And the other 3 rules were just telling you like what jobs to think about in kind of unique ways. So it'd be like one of our old rules was embrace your true expenses. Before that, it was called save for a rainy day. And it was this idea of like, hey, think about those car tires, like that's an expense, even though it doesn't hit you monthly. So people would think about the car tires and they'd be thinking about the monthly and they'd be comparing those two together. That's the power of YNAB is bringing all the spending across a material time horizon and considering all of that spending together and then making those trade-offs. So we're like, oh man, everyone's just giving every dollar a job and it's just a different lens by which we're doing that. That was cool. So we moved to these questions. Ask yourself these questions as you give every dollar a job. And we love the question framing because it was a little more inviting. It was a less like, do this, do this, do this. And it was more just like, hey, ask yourself this question, see what comes up. And then as I started working on the book a couple of years ago, I was just like, you're always, as you're teaching someone to do this hard thing, changing how they think about money, getting good at it, you're always trying to figure out if you could say it better, if they could understand it quicker, if there's any bit of friction. And it's basically just looking at how they're learning and trying to make that faster. And I just kept attacking, give every dollar a job. Like, is there any better way to say that, clearer way to say that? And I mean, some people didn't even like that we would say dollar, and then you're in Brazil, and they're like, "Hey, why aren't we talking about this or that?" Or like, we're pretty big in the UK, and they're like, "I want to give every pound a job," and you're kind of like, "Well, you know what we're saying, you know?" But at the same time, it was a little bit of like, "Oh, I wish we could do that different. I wish it wasn't currency centric," you know?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I wish it wasn't a metaphor. I wish it was just direct. So all of that, we finally figured out we could just frame the whole exercise as coming back to a question again and again. And that question is, what's it for? And what's it for? Does the outcome is the same? Like if you're given every dollar a job, or I ask you, hey, Will, what's it for? You're gonna know it,
Yeah.
And so, but the question is so much more inviting. It's simpler. There's not a metaphor to try and parse. And I mean, this is brand new for us, but I hope that it takes even better. I hope people feel like they get it, even quicker. I hope when they're stuck, they'll realize, okay, I just need to go back to my question. Like, what's it for? And then there are 5 answers that the book walks you through. And that smells a lot like those 5 questions, making sure you're considering the whole. So it's just a reframing, a repackaging, um, and hopefully a clearer understanding. And for those that have been in the know for a while and they're kind of OG, hopefully just a kind of like a reminder of why are you really doing this? Like, what is your money
Yeah.
really for? Hopefully it gives them some pause and time for introspection, that kind of thing. But that's a long answer to your question, but man, it's
Yeah.
been years, and maybe in 5 to 10 years we'll be like, oh wait, I think we have something better. And I hope we have the guts to ship it.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is to be so afraid of changing something that you just kind of stay stagnant. Then we're
Yeah.
all writing in Fortran still, heaven forbid, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, this may be a stretch, but when you were talking about that, I don't know why, but it kept popping up. Like, I feel like we're in this mental health space now, just the generation we're in, and
Hmm.
asking questions to yourself is like a lot of that. So it almost fits right
Oh,
in with that, like, because you're like journaling, people journal a lot
yeah.
now and stuff. And it's a lot of asking yourself those type of questions. So I don't know why, but that's what it kind of made me think about.
Yeah, maybe we're adapting a little bit to things shifting. The
Yeah.
same way we don't answer telephone calls or anything like that. And the same way we've moved toward a chat bot. Maybe we're kind of adjusting to how people want to learn,
Yeah.
essentially.
You have to. If you want to survive, you have to.
Yeah, I hope it's the right move. I mean, it's funny because people in business, people are always like, well, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Like, it doesn't look like a good idea. And you're like, listen, we hope it's a good idea, right? Like,
Yeah.
one thing you can be assured of is we think it's a good idea. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. But at the same time, sometimes as a business owner, especially of a product that people really love, um, they also act like we have all the answers, which
Mm-hmm.
isn't true at all. We're also just trying to figure it out as we go. I wish we had the answers a little early. That'd be nice. Just isn't the case. So um, it's something you have to get comfortable with when you're calling the shots. Um, that yeah, you could be wrong, and you hope to figure out that you're wrong quickly, and then figure out how to be right and keep moving forward. But you certainly don't have a crystal ball.
Definitely. Well, you said that, like, what you just said kind of remind me of this next question. 22 years, no outside funding. Tell me about that. Like, what did that allow you to say yes to, no to? Were there hard times during that time
Yeah.
of no outside funding?
Yeah. I mean, is it twice? Like, well, there was one time I lost 80 grand on some bad development that we had to scrap. This was when Taylor was not full time yet, right? And I'd used some other dev house, and it had not gone well. And I wasted a year of effort and $80,000, and that was a lot of money back. Hey, that's a lot of money now,
Yeah.
And yeah, that was tough. We had bought a new house, and I I had gone to Julie and basically told her like that, Taylor had come on full time. He had looked at the code we'd been building, and he's basically like, I really hate to tell you this, man. We talked about hard conversations. He's
Yeah.
just like, but this is not usable, and I don't have the expertise there to have caught it early. And I feel like I was kind of hoodwinked a little bit on it. So
Mm,
we scrapped it. And I had to go to Julie and be like, we just scrapped it, 80 grand, and the time just gone. Um, and I said that in a house that was pretty empty because we've been putting all this money toward this, not toward like,
oh,
buying a
wow.
couch, buying just some basic stuff for the house. So that one hurt. And bless her heart, she was just like, oh man, that's brutal. And then it was kind of like, okay, we keep going. So that was a tough one. Um, the next year I told her we needed to take a pay cut by half. And
Oh,
her
wow.
question was, will groceries change? Like how much we can spend on groceries? I said, no. She's like, okay, we should be all right then. But it meant just like we're not doing anything else, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then in 2016, we earned the money back. And then 2016, literally like the same conversation again. We were saving up to be able to transition to this subscription model instead of what was a dying, perpetual license model. At
Yep.
that point, it had really run its course. And I remember going to Julie again, being like, we're going to take a pay cut. We got to like scrap together everything we can to ride this change out. That was tough. It would have been easier in the moment to have millions of dollars, someone else's money, and everything stays the same for my family.
Yeah.
But I would have given up control. I would have, they might have told me, hey, guess what? We're selling this in 5 years. Or they might have said, hey, we're selling this in 3 months. You don't have any control at that point.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't know what I've given up on the upside, though. Sometimes you get some investment and they attach a rocket to that thing,
Mm,
and maybe you only own 20% of it, but they've 10x'd it. You're better off. You're double. Um, so you don't know what you've given up. But I've never done well with a boss, and investors are bosses. So
yeah.
been a comfortable spot for me.
I think that there's two key things you said. You don't do well with bosses. You know that about yourself. And that is like, I I'm kind of the same way at times. Like I have to be at a company that pushes me, challenges me, and then
Yeah.
I'm great. If I'm bored, it's not a good fit. So knowing that about yourself is like key. Um,
Yes.
the second thing you said is that control. And so when I read this, I was blown away by this. So you're no longer the CEO.
That's right. Yeah.
And so you kind of gave up control in that. So tell me
Yes.
about that, because that's unheard of. That's pretty rare
Yeah.
nowadays.
It was let's see, 2021. when
Okay.
I stepped away, and Todd Curtis is our CEO now. Um, and I had been kind of watching him, and we'd been working together more than 10 years at that point. And I'd been putting him in places in the business, just kind of giving him exposure again and again, and recognizing that he was a really good operator.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, as the company was growing and changing as it does, I just realized like I was not doing the stuff that I like to do. I was doing a lot of management, a lot of meetings, a lot of just like coordination, not my forte. And I had just this realization like, man, I don't know if I'm the right person for the job as we move forward,
Wow.
which is tough. If you're the founder, you get a little ego hit on there. But
Yeah.
I kind of made peace with that. Not easily, but I did make peace with it. And Todd and I talked about it at length, and I told him my idea, and he was for it. He wanted to give it a go. So, yeah, he's been operating as the CEO for the last 5 years, 5+ years, and yeah, it's been great. I'm on the board. Clearly,
Okay.
there's only two board members. It's me and Taylor,
Okay.
and we're both in non-operational roles. I do promotion. I'm pushing the book, but day to day at YNAB, that's not where I focus. So I've given Todd some very high level rails, right?
Yeah.
And we have our board meetings, and I'm very aware on a high level of where we're headed, what we want to do, what milestones are. But the day to day, I've really tried to step out of and give him the space that he needs to actually feel like he controls this, right? There isn't someone just breathing down his neck.
So how did that transition go? Because like that's not an easy transition. Anytime you
Uh,
come around, people probably like, who do I answer to? Because you're still the founder, you have the ultimate
yeah.
say, the board member. So how did that go for the last 5 years?
Yeah, I guess you'd have to ask the team, right? They'd be the ones to tell you, like, oh man, it was horrible. It was so
Yeah.
confusing. Todd and I had a standing one-on-one. Now we meet every other week, but we had a standing
Okay.
one-on-one weekly. And one of the talking points was stepping on toes, and it was literally where I would say, "Where did I step on your toes this week?" And
Wow.
he would say, or he would say, "You didn't." But at first it was like, "Oh, here, 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 and here," And I'd be like, "Oh, that's right. Yeah, I see it now." And so we just kind of slowly ironed that out. And the biggest change was when I stopped attending the executive owner. We had these meetings that were between the executives, or the executives and the owners, me and Taylor together. And the biggest change was when we stepped back from that executive meeting and said, "Okay, we got to make sure that it's very clearly understood that Todd's calling the shots." At the end of the day, Todd is fully accountable to the board, to me and Taylor. Like, if he doesn't deliver, then we got to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
But so far so good with him.
Wow. Talking about like laying your ego aside, doing the
Yeah,
right thing. That's not easy. Just
yeah.
gonna
I
be
mean,
honest.
the right thing, I don't know how you'd know it was right
Yeah.
necessarily. Like, I felt like I should do it. I think I was optimizing for me.
Mm,
I wasn't optimizing necessarily for anything else except what was feeling right for me.
yeah.
And that, that's just is what it is. I get to call the shots. I don't have anyone else tell me what I can or can't do, which means if the ship goes down, that's on me.
Yeah.
Um, but that's okay. That's all right.
That's awesome. At the beginning, you didn't go into like, oh, I'm going to school to run a software company. So tell me some of the things that you've learned, some of the advice that you've grown, the areas you've grown in, and some of the unexpected things that came up during that time.
I mean, a lot of like the fundamentals of business. I joined a Vistage group. It's like a CEO peer group. I joined that probably 12, 13 years ago, stayed in it, I think, for 10 years. And that was where I learned like some basic stuff. Like, I was young, naive, um, learned about expectations, learned how to fire people, learned how to talk about performance, learned how to set business objectives, learned about all kinds of process that you just think is like, just doesn't even cross your mind, learned about culture, and just kind of the business basics, right?
Yeah.
I credit my CEO group with helping me. One, kind of validated that I wasn't crazy. I was worried about the things that they had been worried about when they were in my shoes, and also just learning from them. Like, oh yeah, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. I mean, things as basic as HR stuff, all the way to like, networking and strategy. And so it's just, yeah, surround yourself with people you want to learn from. On the software side, I really got a lot of mileage years and years ago from Jason Fried, his book, the Getting Real. Like, I think
Okay.
it's an old book at this point, but about software development and kind of thinking how you think about it and features and simplicity and saying no. And I still give people reference that book, like, oh, you want to start something in software? Read that first. You'll probably
Mm-hmm.
convince yourself you shouldn't do it at all, but read it, and then tell me what you think. So that was formative for me on the software side. On the design side, I learned a lot from one of our first designers, Adam, taught me a lot about branding, why that's important, about
Okay.
messaging. Um, and I've always had a knack for writing, but I gained a lot of mileage from a book called Revising Prose.
Okay.
It'll probably be less relevant with AI going forward. I'm not sure. Breakthrough Advertising was another that was formative for me around copy, and then the design of everyday things was kind of changed my thinking around design and users. Another one that was formative, I'm giving everyone a laundry list, was
Yeah.
the Clayton Christensen Jobs to be Done framework that he taught. And thinking through that was also really, really helpful over the years. So where there's a need, you end up, your brain is attuned to be like, I need to find a solution. And
Yeah.
sometimes they click. And so yeah, I'm grateful for people that put out good advice, and
Yeah.
kind of pass that along, because it certainly has helped me.
So this is a question I'm interested to hear because I was on the other side of it. So when Mint shut down, I was a
Oh
user of
yeah.
Mint, and that's whenever when it shut down, I was like, oh wow, I don't know what to do because most of the software is not like that. And
Yeah.
that's whenever someone said YNAB, I'm like, okay, but I gotta pay for it. I'm like, is it like, should I pay for it? Is it worth
Yeah.
it? And I was like, I'm just gonna do it. So kind of tell me on your side, how did that go? How did that whole,
That
did it
was
affect
crazy.
you? Yeah.
Oh
What was
yeah.
some of the changes?
Oh yeah, it affected us. They announced so suddenly that they had shut down, and
Okay.
then everyone starts looking for. I mean, Mint was big. They were pretty dormant. Like, they hadn't done a lot of innovation or anything.
Mm-hmm.
They just been kind of sitting for what I thought pretty dormant for a long time.
Yeah.
But there were still a lot of users, man. Some of them super passive. Would check monthly and look at how bad they'd done and slap themselves on the wrist and tell them they'd do better the next month, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that was a lot of users to be told this thing is shutting down. So we tried to roll out the carpet as best we could and kind of be like, hey, come on in, try this. The water's fine. But it was a different thing for a lot of people where they're like, oh my God, I got to pay for this, like, $100 a year. But you're not the product, that kind of thing. Like, that's one of the things you're paying for. Like, data stays safe, um, very private, and we don't advertise to you. We'll occasionally tell you should buy a book that I just wrote, but beyond that, we don't really do any advertising.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but yeah, we picked up a good number of users from that. Yeah, it was kind of a bit of a windfall for us. And I'm so glad, like, someone like you, that's like, they've gone from, like, they're using Mint and now they're over on YNAB, and like they know what their money's for and they've got clear goals and like things are clicking. I'm like, man, that's pretty awesome, So I'm glad we outlasted them. They had tons of funding early on. Intuit bought them, and I thought, oh, they're a tough competitor, but we never really worried about it. Like, we just kind of kept our head down and kept teaching what we wanted to teach, and it's worked out okay.
I agree. I'm part of here now, not going anywhere.
Excellent.
So let me ask you about money. So the core thing of your book, it seemed like you asked, what is it for? Something,
Yeah.
going to that question. So why do you think it was so important for you to ask that question? So like, why are people bad with money? I guess like,
Yeah.
where I want to go with that. Like, why are they bad with money? Why are they scared of money? I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people are scared of money.
Yeah. It's just what they've been taught, what they've seen, I used to be a bad swimmer. I'm okay
Mm,
now, but I got lessons, right? And when I wanted to learn to swim a long distance, I actually got these really specific lessons on how to be able to stay in there a long time and just go and go and go. And I got better at it. It's just a skill,
mm,
straight up. And if someone had been like, Jesse, that you watch me flounder in the pool, you'd be like, dude, you are a bad swimmer. Like objectively, like I'm
yeah.
watching you, you're not doing the fundamentals. Like you're dragging, you're flailing, who knows? Um, so I could get out of the pool and you'd be like, dude, you're a bad swimmer. I'd kind of be like, well, I wish you'd say it to me more nicely, but yeah, I agree with you. Like I am objectively. And most people are objectively bad with their money. When they spend it, they feel guilty. They spend it and they shouldn't have, or they spend it and they totally should have, but they don't know and they still feel guilty.
Yeah.
They don't set aside much for the future as far as future purchases, future obligations. They can't talk about it with their spouse without it kind of turning into a pretty rough conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Emergencies happen constantly. Like even an inconvenience is an emergency.
Yeah.
Um, money is like at best it's a tool to them that they try and wield. But at worst, like you said, it's negative. It's it's a source of conflict. It's a source of strain and stress. And then to cap it all off, Will, is they spend so much time trying to get this thing that they are horrible at using.
Yeah.
And that's the big tragedy in all of this. So why are we bad at it? Because we haven't learned.
Yeah.
And let's all just blame our parents and then just get good at it. Just call it a day, right?
There you go. So let me ask you this part. So, and I'll tell the story first. So probably a year ago, I started picking up running.
Mhm.
And I was horrible at it. And the reason I was horrible at it is because I've always been competitive. So I hit the
Mm.
ground and I'm like 9 minute pace every single day. I'm gonna like tear it up. And I would get tired, exhausted, and whatever, get
Yeah,
hurt, whatever. I'm like, I'm done with it. I'm just done. The key that I learned is going slow, taking those slow steps, looking ahead. Up is a hill. I know there's a hill up, so let me reserve some of that energy because that's going to be a big hill going over it. And that kind of what, like with the money thing, what I'm thinking of is like I feel like
yeah,
so many people want to go 8 miles per, I mean 8 minute pace and stuff, and it's to me it feels like a go slow, look ahead, kind of understand it. So if someone wanted to go slow and do it that way, what advice would you give them? How would you say, hey, this is what I would tell you to stick to it for
yeah.
a month or two and do it slow and you will be successful.
Yeah, the what I don't give advice that's around like, save this much, take
Mm-hmm.
this, order your credit cards this way, pay them down in this way. That advice is so readily available and just out there. I mean,
Yep.
heck, you could ask an LLM and they'll give you that advice.
Yep.
Um, but the harder work is to answer that question of what's it for. So if I were to start someone off at like, let's say a 10-minute pace, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the kind of thing where you're like, hey, can you still have a conversation while you're running? It's like, yes. Okay. That's the pace we want. And
Yeah.
that money pace would probably look something like, okay, what do you have in your checking account right now? Checking, savings, combine it all together. What do you have? Person says, oh, I don't know, it's $300 or something. And then they'd be like, well, I'm going to be paid on Friday though. And I'd be like, don't worry about that because we're running at the 10-minute pace, right? Don't worry
Yeah.
about anything else. This pile of money. And then we just say like, well, what's it for? And they would know the answer. It'd be like, oh, well, the gas tank, the light just popped on. So I got to put, gas in the car. The fridge is pretty empty. Got to put some food in the fridge. And, maybe there's a bill or two due. And then they'll be like, but Friday I get paid back. You're trying to run fast right before the hill, man. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, so now this $300, we got to plan for it. 50 to gas, 100 to groceries, 150 to this bill or whatever. You got 50 left over. what do you think? And then like, well, and that might be where you'd prod them. Like, is there anything coming up later? Just a little later.
Yeah.
Like, well, so-and-so's birthday party, one of the kids going to a birthday party. All right. Are we going to give them a little gift? Certainly not $50. That's way too much for a kid's birthday party. But just want to let everyone know. But they're like, oh yeah, we'll do, we'll do $20 for the gift. Okay. We still got $30. Anything else? And what about some in the future? And you just get their gears going, right? They're practicing this thing at this 10-minute pace of just kind of being like, oh, I've handled the now, like that money that's for now. There's a whole chapter in the book about that. But now it's like, and we're going to handle something for later,
Yeah.
And they're starting to practice that idea of like, not just considering things that are in your face in the moment, stressing you out. We handled those. We got our present moment worry free, but now we're also saying, well, how are we going to maintain that present moment being worry free? You start having them think about for later. And then we work them through all five of those. But that's that pace where they feel control. They feel like they can talk while they're running, so to speak. They feel like they could go for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and you just keep doing that. So when new money comes in, we just say, okay, what's this money for? Some of it's for now. Some of it's for later. Some of it's for ease in the system itself. Very unique YNAB thing to do, where we have people, start to save up where they're spending this month what they earned last month. And then next month, they'll be spending this month's money. And it's just honestly, almost a hack. Works so well, though. And then we have them think about money that they want for, we call it for you. Like what lights up will, like where it's like your unique spending. Like what I would maybe liken it to, okay, now it's time. You've gotten some reps under your belt. Now it's time to like go to the running store and get the right shoes, tailored toward you. Like everyone's got a different gait, different strike pattern or whatever it may be. Get those right shoes. You got to recognize that some of this is tailored to me, or maybe it's a playlist that you love, or the clothes you want to wear, or whatever it is. It's like, this is what I do. This is why I like it. This is how I like running. I love that. Actually, that's actually the more interesting part to talk about with someone with their money is like, well, like let's play spending boggle, where you and I say things that I would spend money on where I could guess you would not at all. You would learn more about me, and then flipped it around, I would learn more about you, and we'd actually get to know each other on a more meaningful level, because we're finding like the places where we don't overlap, where we both buy stuff for our kids or whatever, right? So that idea of people recognizing that some of their money is for them to uniquely express themselves in the world. That's when money starts to get really fun. And if I'm going to keep this running metaphor alive, I will try again. I wonder if it would be like, that's where the endorphins, that runner's high, maybe you start to actually be like, oh my gosh, it really is a thing. I really do feel this, but for the first little while, you're proud of yourself for doing it. Your body feels good, but it's maybe not that runner's high you see them talking about on YouTube or whatever, not yet. So,
and
yeah.
that's actually key, because I'm usually the finance guy in our marriage. Katie is like, I don't know about that. But what hooks her in is that when I'm like, all right, when we could take care of this, you take care of this and we're not overspending, we can put some money towards you and take care of you. And she's like, okay, now we're talking, now we're doing it. And so, and that's been a key thing to bringing her to the table, is that's just not her thing. She just doesn't like finances, but I can go and do scuba diving. I can do surfing. Okay. I'm incentivized. I'm here now. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Julie's the same. Like she, like being in the software, not her thing. She'll record a Costco transaction, I think, because Costco like hands you the receipt, and it's kind of like this whole routine where she's gotten used to that one. But man, Venmo transactions, Amazon transactions, black hole, I gotta be like, hey, what was this? And she'll happily tell me and look it up and be like, oh, it was for so-and-so or whatever. But she's never really been into it. We've tried, over the years. But when you have it like, hey, we're going to do this travel, we're going to take the kids over. She's all in, right? It's like she's got the spreadsheet out. And she's like, we're going to do this, 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 and this. So it's fine. Like she knows what our big goals are. She knows. She could rattle them off to you, and that's what's most important. The minutia is for people like you and me that kind of enjoy it, kind of like being in it, like seeing the green in the app, and that's totally okay. Yeah,
definitely. So I'm going to end it on this. What's something in the app, especially for me, that is very powerful but is rarely used? Or is there anything like that?
I got a couple. Um,
Okay.
you can. I use an iPhone. It's probably the same for Android, or the Android people are like, dude, we already had that feature. Like they'll probably say that. But we like you long press on the icon and you can just go right to the ad transaction screen instead of going in and hitting the ad. That's
Okay.
one that I use all the time. I'm a big believer in using the GPS location in the software, in the app. So if you're there and, if I'm at Home Depot again, it's like, oh, we're at Home Depot. So pays pre-filled. It'll probably be home repairs is my guess on the category. Um, that's a nice one. And then, yeah, I don't even know if this is out yet or if it's just in like a release candidate that I'm using. I think it probably
Okay.
is. Um, but we introduced this new way of reviewing transactions where they're more like cards instead of a list of
Oh,
transactions. And doing that has allowed us to give you a lot of categories as options. So like Amazon, the one I was complaining about, Amazon could be
yeah.
like one of six, right? And it's
Yep.
a little quicker to be like, oh yeah, that was clothing, not miscellaneous or not, my BritBox subscription or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so the card processing, at first I was like, oh, this is new,
Hmm.
and I'm looking at it and I go back to the old view and I'm like, oh, this is the one I know. But I kind of forced myself. I'm like, let me try the new one.
Yeah.
And now that I've used it for a little bit, it's faster.
Okay.
So maybe I'm just giving everyone a new feature or one that's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying that process a little bit. Anything to get rid of the tedium, still
Hmm.
have super good decision making around what your money's for. We got to get people good at money, right? That is
Yeah.
the goal. The app needs to have you get good at money so you never worry about it anymore.
There you
That's the
go.
key. Yeah.
Jesse, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and chatting with me. It was great. I'm thankful for what you're doing with YNAB. It's
Thank
been
you.
a game changer in my life. So yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
It was a pleasure to be on here, Will. And yeah, best of luck to you.
Yeah. So make sure you pick up Jesse's new book, August 11th. It will change your life. It will help you become better at money and asking those questions. You can subscribe to the show and find notes along with a complete transcript for this episode at giantrobots.fm. If you have questions or comments, email us at host@giantrobots.fm. And you can find me on LinkedIn at William Larry. See you next time.